Welcome back to Gems with Genesis Amaris Kemp. With me today is a firecracker, Monique McDonald, known to many as the magnetic voice. Monique McDonald is a Grammy-nominated, you heard me, Grammy-nominated, award-winning vocal specialist and charisma coach. Initially terrified to audition or speak publicly, you can't tell y'all. Wait till I get her to open up. Monique studied intensely with excellent coaches to cultivate her confidence. As a result, she celebrated outstanding opera and masterclass performances throughout Europe, Asia, Japan, and the US, including Carnegie Hall, New NYC, New York City, y'all, and the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. When Monique helps you uncover your natural charisma and your magnetic voice, you benefit from secrets learned in over 20 years through high stakes performance combined with her unique coaching style. Her passion is inspiring charismatic communication and mastery of the human voice to empower entrepreneurs, speakers, and leaders. And without further ado, I'm going to welcome Monique McDonald because we are going to dive into what if your voice could save a life. Come on now. Welcome, Monique.
Oh, thank you so much, Genesis. I'm so excited to be here. Woo! Every time I hear my bio, I have to admit I have a moment of, wait, who's that? It's me. Yeah, that's me. I did all of that. And I'm so excited to be here and share with your audience all that I've learned and to share with you. We were having giggles before this podcast started already. And that's so lovely because we've connected already.
Yes, and I love that. And when I was reading your bio, because I normally don't read bios until I actually get in front of you and hit the record button so I could have something that surprises me. And I was like, man, I was like, I wanted to say, this girl is on fire. And
Yes,
I
I
am
love
not a
it.
singer, so you can laugh because that was not a good representation of Alicia Keys. So if you want to remix it really quick before we jump into it, be my guest.
I love that, and I was not laughing because of that, although most people sort of get a little nervous around me when they hear my bio. What I believe in, Genesis, is that everybody is a singer, right? Not everybody wants to sing at the Metropolitan Opera or become a recording artist, right? But we all sing. We all sing. It's part of how we express ourselves, right? So I love to hear all voices because it's an expression that is yours and only yours. Our voices are the reflection of our life experiences. And so, even though there may be two voices that sound similar because it's moving through you and your body and your life experience, there's only one voice for Genesis.
I love that. I love that. So are you going to take me up on the offer, Monique, and just remix it in Monique's voice?
No, I said all of what I just said because we love your voice just as it is.
All righty. So sorry, y'all. I couldn't get Monique to remix it. I tried though. But so, Monique, with the powerful title, What If Your Voice Could Save a Life? How does that show up evident for you?
Well, I actually have a story that is one of my favorite experiences that I got to witness and live through. I was singing for tips in an Italian restaurant and learning my craft. It was a very big restaurant down in Durham, North Carolina. And, I was the hostess. So the waiters would come to the table while I was singing my aria and they just moved me out of the way so that they could serve. I called it boot camp for learning focus, like how to sing there's music playing in the background, people laughing, talking all around you, and you've got to stay in tune and sing, right? So this was uh, one of my favorite jobs, actually. And this particular evening, I sang for this very big table. And I went back into the kitchen to get some water and sort of get ready for the next time someone, asked for the singer to come to their table. And the waitress came up to me and she said, Monique, you have to go back to table 10. They're all crying. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Do I have to go back? I don't know. Do I want to go back? So I sort of made my way to the table, and the woman who was sitting at the head of the table just threw herself into my arms, sobbing, thank you so much. And I said, what is happening? What is going on? Well, come to find out, she had brought her son to the Duke University Medical Center to be fitted for a cochlear implant. He was completely deaf. And they had been told that he was not a candidate. And so they were having dinner together. The family had come to support this adorable little boy. And it was a sad table. I didn't realize, obviously, they just asked me to come and sing. And well, apparently, after I finished singing, the child signed to his mother, I heard her.
Oh my gosh. So you have an angelic voice then, Monique.
Well, I I mean, it's not that my voice is so loud, but obviously I am trained as an opera singer. So we are trained to sing over a 100-piece orchestra in a theater that seats over 1,000 with no microphone. So I do have a very strong voice. And what I understood, because they took him back for testing, it was the vibration. And so they were able to fit him with an apparatus that was outside of his ear, just because of that. And so they came back and he was able to speak to me and thank me. And I realized after that experience that we never know. Okay, not everybody is an opera singer, not everybody's going to have this kind of experience, but I really truly believe that when we speak our truth and we stand up for what we believe in, and we have the courage to invite people into our experiences and share with them, we are literally vibrating the world. And we never know. We never know who's listening, and we never know how one of our stories can influence and even, yes, even save a life.
I love that story, and I got goosebumps and chills because the way you set it up, I was singing in an Italian restaurant, and then you just go a little bit deeper, and then you hit me with the sad part. Then you bring me up to the high part. So I'm like, oh, wow. And all I could think about was it was your voice that made the imprint. That imprint created the impact in that young boy's life, and that impact changed his world. So one imprint could drive an impact. That impact could be the world changer you destined to be and the world changer that you create.
That's it. That is it. And we often, I know that when I work with my clients, a lot of what we work on is, why does my voice matter? Who am I? And that's why I always say, yes, I'm an opera singer, but I'm standing up and singing, yes, but speaking, it creates vibration as well. It creates vibration, meaning it literally vibrates the air around you. And you never know what speaking your story, telling your stories, speaking up for yourself, how that's going to change a life or even save a life.
The power of storytelling is so incredible, but sometimes we just have to get over that hurdle of doubt, limiting beliefs, and that stinking thinking mindset and just kick it to the curb, because your voice may be the only voice that could shape the world around you and the world in you. So if you just have your boldness, your bravery, your courageousness to overcome and share your story, and if you only touch one person, then you've done your job, because you don't know who that one person is going to go on and touch. And then you see a ripple effect and a domino effect, but you were that person that needed to plant the seed via sharing your story to help somebody combat imposter syndrome, to help them find their joy back, to help them smile again, to laugh again, and to really be who they were created to be. Because we have so many people out here who are playing it safe. Why? Because they don't know who they are and why they were created. So, Monique, when you think about your life journey from a child all the way up to where you are now, who inspired you to really allow your voice to illuminate the darkness and keep on shining? Because there's a light inside of you, and it's time for you to glow up, glow up, glow up.
Yes, yes, I love it. Yes. Well, listen, this is one of my favorite questions because I always talk about how, you know, that person that believes in you even when you don't believe in yourself. The person who holds that vision of who you can become when you can't see it. And they just hold space for you, knowing the truth of who you are, even when you forget yourself, right? I am very grateful to be able to be that for many people, for my clients, my friends, for the people I come across. And the person that was that for me was my mother. My mother, I'm an only child, and my mother was what I would call a truth seeker. She was always looking for ways to better herself. She was always on the lookout for people who she could help, people who she could uplift and heal. My grandmother always used to talk about how she'd always bringing some animal home with a broken wing or a broken leg. That was my mom. And she was this very unusual woman. She was also trained as a classical singer, and she was a counselor for heroin addicts in Bedford-Stuyvesant, New York. So she was here working with heroin addicts by day and singing like an angel by night. And my mom suffered with stage fright, very bad stage fright. And I remember when I started to sing, she was my one and only voice teacher, and we did this whole journey together. And she always would talk about how I was fearless, which I always found funny because of course I wasn't fearless, but I loved doing it so much that I got over my fear very quickly, whereas it really kept her back to the point where she had to stop and teach more, which is great for her students, but not so great for her. But she was that person that I remember when I started working at this Italian restaurant, and she would have her opera singer students coming from New York City. We were living in Durham, North Carolina at the time, to come down and work with her, and then I might be singing that night at the restaurant, so she'd bring them to come and come into the restaurant. And they would all kind of poo-poo it and be like, "Oh, bleh, how can you sing here?" And she would always just sort of smile, and then after they were gone, she'd say, "Remember these times, because when you're singing for kings and queens and singing at Carnegie Hall and singing all over the world, these are the times you're going to remember." Because the audience was right there and I could see the effect. When I'm on a big stage, the lights are in my eyes and the audience is in the dark. So you don't see the effect as much. And I learned so much about what it takes to stand and really open your heart and speak, in this case, sing from your heart, sing your truth. But I also learned how to speak from there as well. And that's what I teach others now. And I will always sing and I will always work with singers, but I've now opened up my studio to work with speakers as well. So I'm just loving life right now.
I love that because as you were just sharing, it's just so beautiful that your mom was that person for you. And it sounds like you were two peas in a pod. And now I can see that's where you um, gain your inspiration because your mother was a singer and you are a singer and you're doing all these incredible things. But then your mom also taught you to have humble beginnings because if you could sing in an Italian restaurant where people poo poo on this restaurant, then you could sing in front of millions. You could sing in front of people of high status and etc. So don't forget where you come from because it's not where you're going to be forever because your calling is higher. And then now the fact that you help other people overcome their fears and you become what your mother was to you to other people, it's just incredible. And it shows that you just have a heart that is nurturing. You
Mm.
have a spirit that is kindred. Your smile illuminates the room. You have the light and you're allowing your light to shine. And if you think about it this way, I have a good friend of mine, I think she's in her 50s. She was teaching when I was working in oil and gas. She would teach a Bible study during our lunch break. So she gave me a glow stick, and I said, "Miss Marilyn, why do I need a glow stick? How is this relevant or whatnot?" And then she said, "Break the glow stick." And she went and she turned off the lights. And she said, "No matter what darkness you're in, when you crack a glow stick, it still illuminates. So your light is always going to shine in the darkness. So, what vantage point are you looking out at? What perspective do you have? And do you need to shift?" And it was via.
Woo! That is so powerful.
Yeah, she was so amazing because I was like, "Really, a glow stick?" I had it in my hand. But it was in that moment that I knew the one above, the source, was speaking to me because he needed me to humble myself because I was going through something and he used Marilyn as a human vehicle to get to me. So that's what you, and going back to what you said about the story, that's what you were for the little boy. And by him hearing you, it encourage them to go back and get another opinion. And then they found a resource that was conducive to him hearing. They had to change the implant to something that was externally so he could fully hear. So you never know how your singing could change and shape a life. You never know how your voice can change and shape a life and your teaching. So it was just amazing. And as we are winding down, Monique, because I want to be respectful of your time commitment, I want you to share one or two gems for the listeners and viewers based on our topic today.
Okay, I really appreciate that. When when you are about to speak the truth, you'll notice, especially with a lot of eyes on you, or if you're about to speak in public, you'll notice that your heart starts to beat. It starts to pound. And most of us, it's a scary feeling. And what I would love to invite you to do is to reframe that. When your heart starts to pound like that, it means you are about to speak your truth, and your heart is there reminding you that it's always there with you, beating with you, giving you the strength, the power, the life force to speak from your heart, speak your truth, because you never know who's listening, and you never know who you may inspire to speak from their heart, and that ripple effect that you may never know. You may speak and affect one person, and something about your story, something about how you expressed your story, something about that heart of yours opening when you spoke will lift them up so that they can speak. And then we never know how far that ripple effect will take the truth and the seeds of healing, love, and light.
Oh, amazing gem, Monique. And close us out with saying once again who you are and how the listeners and viewers can connect with you, whether it's on social media or etc.
Well, Genesis, I actually have a gift for your listeners today. You can go to themagneticvoice.com/V like Victor, O like Operation, P like Peter, and you will get a voice of power assessment where we can talk together about how your voice is resonating, how your power is moving through your voice. And you can visit me at themagneticvoice.com. And my name is Monique McDonald, and it has been my pleasure to be here. I am a vocal specialist and a charisma coach, and I love to empower people through the human voice. Woo!
I got a little sense of the glow up. So there you have it, listeners and viewers of Gems with Genesis Amaris Kemp. You just heard Monique McDonald, and she closed us out in a way that I cannot. So until we chat next time, peace, love, and lots of blessings. Go out and have yourself an amazing day because you are a masterpiece, and don't you ever forget it.
Yes.